A few turns later, and Azel has finally recovered from sleep. So now I'll bring him up here so I can participate in the next battle. Right, so at the moment, these are the characters I have with the best defense. Unfortunately, all of them at this point are mounted, which, yeah, means they need to stay away from the guy with the Night Killer. The general strategy I like to use is to have them go forward, but not so much that they get into his range. Because as long as they're going up against regular enemies, they're completely fine. And now the Augustian Knights don't really start moving until you cross an invisible line that exists somewhere up here. Not quite sure exactly. Oh yeah, I just equipped that steel axe because don't want him to be stealing all the experience. Here I realise I could get Fury to fly over and visit this village. For a message doesn't really make sense at this point. Yes, I don't think Bishop Clement and his sleep staff will be bothering us anymore. You will need to watch your sword users though, because most of the enemies here use lances. Though there are a few axe users, and a few bow knights as well. There are a few healers among the enemy as well. And for some reason, they always seem to give enemy healers really, really good staves. Probably to compensate for their crappy stats. Right, I don't think we've crossed that line yet. They don't seem to be moving. Now, I'm putting Fury up on the side of that cliff there, so, this is where, flying ability really helps, because if she's up that cliff, none of the enemies can attack her, but she can fly in, attack them, and then fly back over the cliff, using her remaining movement. Which really comes in handy against these guys, especially since there are a few bow knights among them, and you don't want her getting too close to those. Of course, it's good to keep Sylvia handy. Now, at the moment, we won't need to worry about those ballistas and armoured knights near Sharkal's castle. Now, here they come. They seem to like to put their lance knights first, then their axe knights, then the bow knights. Which does make sense. And finally, the healers and the boss, which is something you can take advantage of, because, yeah, he'll usually be the last to move, and he'll sort of be behind everyone else. Yeah, those healers have swords as well, but you don't need to really worry about them too much. Now, it's probably best to save here, because from my experience, I had to reset a fair few times at this point. It's mainly the boss. You need to get rid of him as soon as possible, because he poses a huge threat to most of your best characters. I'm going to be using Finn quite a bit here too, but of course you need to keep him out of range of the boss, because any mounted character who isn't Sigurd, Lex or Kwan will pretty much die in one hit to that Night Killer. And I might have explained this before, but I'll say it again just in case. In this game, effectiveness bonuses, like the one from this guy's Night Killer, act like automatic criticals. So this actually does mean that anyone with nihil is actually immune to effectiveness bonuses. You see that on a couple of bosses later on. I won't spoil who. But I think this combination yourself is only usable if you pair Fury with Alec. Because that gives their daughter the nihil skill, means that bows won't be effective against her. But that pairing's really only worthwhile if you're pairing Levin with someone else. Yeah, it seems like the Axe Knights are deciding to charge in first. Quan doesn't activate Continue all that often. I'm pretty sure that in this game the Continue skill actually activates based on speed, rather than skill, as I think Adept did in Path of Radiance. Which means that, yeah, Levin tends to activate his Continue a lot more often than, say, Quan does. Oh, why does Finn still have that Javelin? Oh, that's really bad. I should have equipped the Hero Lance. Yeah, take it from me, it's always best to check what weapon your characters have equipped, because you don't want to be going into a major engagement like this with a Javelin, as, yes, I learned the hard way here. Finn's going to need a bit of healing after this. Speaking of healing, these enemy troubadours are pretty annoying. Although, I mean, you could try and take them out early to prevent the enemy from healing, but the slight problem with that is that they don't really pose as much of a threat as any of the others, obviously. So if you get rid of everyone and just leave the healers for last, you really have nothing to worry about and you can just use them for free experience. So I generally prefer to do that. Oh, that's great, one more level and Lachesis gets promoted. Although I don't think I've had much luck with her strength stat, which is odd, because it's supposed to be her only good stat. Yes, I would not have needed to heal Finn if I had remembered to equip the Hero Lance. There we go. Finn's going to be doing most of the fighting here. He's starting to get pretty decent now. Gonna pull off that maneuver with Fury like I explained before. And what I tried to do, I'm not sure I was really successful in getting it immediately, but I did get it to her eventually, is get Fury, the Night Killer, because the boss does drop it when you kill him. Thought it would be quite useful to have on someone as highly mobile as Fury. And as enemy archers always do, they pick on the characters who can't defend themselves. Which is mostly your sword users, because, well, there aren't many, ranged swords. You sort of get, one of them in the next chapter. And the others are a bit hard to find. Well, especially one of them, but... Now, because this particular enemy phase is so long, I'm actually going to have to put some of it into the next part.